This is CBC Vancouver News.
Things just such a mess all over the world that you don't want it to touch your community as badly, and I think it's really important just to vote.
I'm 72. I voted since I could, and this is probably the most crucial election for Canada that I can remember.
Day 2 of advanced voting saw more long lineups at polling stations. It comes as Elections Canada says a record number of people cast their ballots on the first day of early voting. Also,
we're the only party saying those at the very, very, very top, the super rich, the ultra rich, should contribute a little bit more.
We'll give judges the power to order mandatory treatment for those suffering from addiction that has spun out of their control.
2 party leaders campaigning in BC as the federal Liberals and NDP unveil their costed platforms. Plus,
shows how just welcoming this is, especially because there's so many people around the world coming here, and I feel like it's a really important day for me.
One of the world's largest Vaisakhi parades takes over the streets of Surrey. Hello, thanks for joining us. I'm Janella Hamilton. As Canadians head to the polls for Day 2 of advanced voting, Elections Canada says preliminary figures show a record turnout on the first day of early voting. As Maurice Katz reports, it comes after people across the country reported experiencing long lineups at polling stations.
Elections Canada says nearly 2 million people showed up on the first day of advanced voting, a record turnout. Some early voters in Vancouver say it's an important election.
Yeah, our country is in a state where people need to come together.
Everything's just such a mess all over the world that you don't want it to touch your community as badly, and I think it's really important just to vote so that we can have leaders that can speak for us.
When you think about people who don't have that choice around the world, still don't have that choice.
Just fulfilling your civic responsibility and voting for your best interests, but also the interests of your neighbors.
I'm 72. I voted since I could, and this is probably the most crucial election for Canada that I can remember.
Voters coming out in droves to cast their ballots as the federal Liberals and NDP unveiled their fully costed campaign platforms Saturday, while the Conservatives say theirs is coming soon. But some advanced voters believe it's too late in the election to influence their decision.
It has not.
Not at all. I already had my mind made up.
No, I only vote for one party.
Almost 5.8 million voters turned out for advanced polls in the last federal election in 2021, up more than 18% back from 2019. One political science expert says advanced voting numbers have increased every election, a good thing for democracy.
It was just becoming unrealistic to insist that we all must vote on a particular day within a particular set of hours. Any more than it was made any sense to insist that working families could not shop for groceries on Sunday.
Advanced voting is on until the end of Monday, and people should be prepared for long lines. Elections Canada says there are a number of reasons why lines could be long at certain advanced polling locations, like the long weekend, good weather, and the state of politics. They say they will adjust to handle the high traffic, but are encouraging voters to choose off-peak hours, bring their ID, and a little bit of patience. Election Day is on April 28th. Maurice Katz, CBC News, Vancouver.
As we heard, Liberal leader Mark Carney released his party's campaign platform today. It forecasts billions in new spending with a focus on capital projects. Karina Roman reports.
The biggest expenditures in the Liberal platform are the previously announced income tax cut, the scrapping of the capital gains tax changes, and the Build Canada Homes plan for affordable housing. There's new defense spending of $18 billion that the Liberals say would get Canada to the 2% of GDP spending target before 2030. Overall, nearly $130 billion over 4 years in new measures, with the deficit projected downwards from nearly $62 billion this year to $47 billion in 2029. Mark Carney says the numbers add up.
We're in an enormous crisis, so we have to be able to do 2 things. One, pull down on that wasteful spending, which we will do. But much more than that, we need to be bold and drive investment in the economy and take the amazing opportunities we have as a country. Everything from building homes for our young people through to building new trade partnerships around the world based on our incredible people, talents, and resources. And we're going to do both. And that is how you meet the moment. That is how you meet a crisis. And that's what we can do.
There are a slew of new promises in the costed platform, ones that have not been made on the campaign trail so far, including a comprehensive review of government programs, estimated to save the government $28 billion, a cap but not a cut to public service employment, the crafting of a new full foreign policy, and a specific list of ideas of potential nation-building projects across the country that could be agreed upon by provinces, territories, and Indigenous peoples.
And while we're putting forth the most ambitious economic plan in decades to do more than just get our economy back on track, but to build the strongest economy in the G7, Pierre Poilievre's mind is focused elsewhere. His priority for Canadians is to bring back plastic straws. Plastic straws. Thank God. That'll show Trump. That'll show the Americans. We got our straws, yeah.
Today's platform also promises money for a new doctor practice fund, a new tax credit for personal care workers, and funding for one round of in vitro fertilization. On the revenue side, the Liberals account for counter-tariff revenues only for this year, signaling their hope that the trade war with the U.S. will somehow get settled sooner rather than later. Karina Roman, CBC News, Peterborough, Ontario.
Day 28 of the election campaign saw two of the federal party leaders campaigning in Metro Vancouver. Jagmeet Singh was in Burnaby unveiling the NDP's platform. It's dominated by spending and requirements aimed at affordability for middle and working class Canadians. And again, Singh says those interests will only be defended by a strong contingent of New Democrats in Parliament. Marina von Stackelberg has more.
In total, the NDP wants to spend more than $227 billion for new programs. It says a large chunk of that spending can be paid for by taxing the rich. When it all shakes out, the NDP plan would still increase Canada's deficit by $48 billion. That's on top of the existing deficit the Liberal government has been running.
I really want to make this important distinction. In a difficult time, which a recession and a trade war represent some of the most difficult times, you can't cut your way out of those things. You actually have to make investments.
Now, the biggest area of new spending in the NDP plan is healthcare. The New Democrats want to expand pharmacare to cover all essential medications and bring in a new multi-billion-dollar mental health program, modeled off of the dental care plan for all Canadians who can't access support through other means. Other big ticket items include taking the GST off basics like home heating and internet, and expanding who can qualify for employment insurance. To pay for all of this, the NDP says it will tax the wealthiest Canadians and companies.
We are the only party talking about a wealth tax. We're the only party saying those at the very, very, very top, the super rich, the ultra rich, should contribute a little bit more. In this time of difficulty, we're asking them to contribute a bit more. And that's something that the Liberals, sadly, are not interested in doing.
Now, that tax would apply to Canadians with more than $10 million in wealth. The NDP says any additional net wealth those people have would be taxed between 1% and 3%. The richest corporations that make more than $500 million a year in profit would also be taxed at 2%. The New Democrats promise to enforce these proposed changes and crack down on tax loopholes by giving the Canada Revenue Agency more resources. Marina von Stackelberg, CBC News, Burnaby, British Columbia.
Meanwhile, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre was in Richmond announcing a new policy plank that would allow drug addiction treatment to be included in criminal sentencing. Kate McKenna reports.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre announced his plan to change the law to allow judges to order people convicted of minor crimes into involuntary drug treatment instead of jail. Now, he came out in favor of involuntary care for people who are convicted of crimes and for minors last year. Today, he fleshed out where he stands on that. He says that minors are covered mostly under provincial jurisdiction health care, but that he would work with provinces to facilitate involuntary treatment for them if he's elected prime minister. This is a marriage of two of the main themes of the Poilievre campaign. One, of course, is support for people with addictions, and the other is being tough on crime. Here's what he had to say.
We will give judges the power to order mandatory treatment for those suffering from addiction that has spun out of their control. Possession of illegal drugs will remain a crime, but we would allow judges to order treatment as an alternative to prison.
He also attacked Liberal leader Mark Carney's platform. Mark Carney's platform includes running deficits, and Pierre Poilievre has been very critical of Justin Trudeau's handling of the country's finances. Today he sought to tie Justin Trudeau to Mark Carney based on what's in the Liberal platform. But it is worth noting that Pierre Poilievre himself has not released his costed platform, and he has promised big tax cuts that he has not fully articulated where that money will be coming from. So we're waiting to see when his platform will be announced. Kate McKenna, CBC News, Richmond, British Columbia.
Search and rescue crews say a woman in her late 20s has died on Mount Seymour after she slipped on ice and fell a few hundred meters down Pump Peak. In a social media post this afternoon, Mounties confirmed the hiker was found dead. The manager of North Shore Rescue says they responded around 9:30 this morning, but due to heavy cloud coverage, its helicopter had limited visibility, and it took rescuers on the ground several hours to reach the spot where the woman had fallen. North Shore Rescue is reminding hikers about the winter conditions on mountains, making surfaces icy and unpredictable. The woman's identity has yet to be released. Homicide investigators have been called in after a body was found inside a Langley apartment that was gutted by fire Friday morning. Mounties say the blaze spread quickly just before 7:30 inside a building at 205th Street and 56th Avenue in downtown Langley. After firefighters extinguished the flames, one person was found dead inside a second-floor unit. RCMP say they do not know how the person died, but their death is being treated as suspicious. Anyone with information is asked to contact them. Advocates are reminding people to be cautious around water as the weather warms up. It comes after a man is presumed to have drowned off Wreck Beach Thursday night. The next day, Vancouver police say a body matching the description of the missing swimmer washed up near 3rd Beach. Police have yet to confirm if the body is of the man who went missing the day before. The Life Saving Society of BC says people should always swim with a friend and never alone.
You should be aware of all of the dangers that come with our beautiful open water. There's currents, drop-offs, cold water, riptides. There are lots of different hazards that we have, and it's important to be educated on the site that we're swimming at.
She says less than 1% of drownings happen in areas that are patrolled by lifeguards, and that most lifeguards in BC will not be on duty until later this spring. She is advising people to look for rescue equipment around them before heading into large bodies of water. The Life Saving Society says 38 people drowned in BC last year. More than 500,000 people gathered in Surrey today for one of the world's largest Vaisakhi parades celebrating the Sikh faith. As Michelle Gomez reports, organizers say this year's turnout may be the largest yet.
Vibrant colors, live music, and food, all part of Vaisakhi. It marks the birth of the Khalsa and the start of a new harvest season. And for many, it's a time to get together and celebrate community.
Seeing all the people from all communities come here together, it's amazing. That's what Sikhi is about.
Like all the community are together and we are serving the free food, and also people are enjoying, and then we will pass our other generation.
And it shows how just welcoming this is, especially because there's so many people around the world coming here, and I feel like it's a really important day for me.
Organizers say the Surrey Vaisakhi parade is the largest in the world and estimate this year may be the largest yet, with between 500,000 and 600,000 people attending.
This is the largest diaspora community of Sikhs outside of Punjab, so everyone has family here. So you'll have people from England, Australia, the United States, Europe, everyone coming here on this weekend.
Singh says for many, it's also a time to talk about current events and express opinions.
While there's a festive kind of celebration going on, there are some serious matters that people are here with as well. We saw transnational repression, we saw foreign interference, we saw Hardeep Singh Nijjar's assassination.
Politicians from all levels of government attended, including Surrey Mayor Brenda Locke, Premier David Eby, and federal NDP leader Jagmeet Singh.
It was a huge honor. I'm always touched by how much love people show. It was overwhelming.
The Surrey Police Service had extra officers, including from other jurisdictions, out to manage crowds.
It's about coordinating the parade. It's about making sure everybody is safe and that everybody stays with their families.
An important part of the festivities is the practice of seva, or giving out free food.
I call it a buffet here. We have veggie burgers, we have sugarcane juice that we press freshly, we have pakoras, and we have curry chawls.
Hundreds of volunteers work to deliver meals and snacks to Vaisakhi goers.
It's a great feeling, you know. It makes my hair stand up to see people out there appreciating.
This year marks the Surrey Vaisakhi Parade's 27th year. Michelle Gomez, CBC News, Surrey.
The Union Gospel Mission served more than 2,000 Easter meals to Metro Vancouver's most vulnerable this morning. The group says the long-time event is about more than just food. Take a look.
Yeah, so this is our 35th annual Easter meal. Honestly, for community members, it's a time of hope and recovery and a little bit of peace in their day, you know, with rising food prices and just the general trauma of experiencing poverty, overdoses. This is a moment of peace and tranquility and gives them a bit of time to relax. We have a pretty robust volunteer team, and these are people who have sometimes helped before, or this is their first experience, but it is through our incredible work of our volunteer resources team.
Oh, I'm here and I'm having a great Easter meal, and guess what? It's delicious.
In total, we're expecting to serve about 2,000 people over the course of the day, and that's like 1,800 pounds of ham, 500 apple pies, 750 pounds of scalloped potatoes, and 750 pounds of vegetables as well.
Still ahead, a fast-moving wildfire tore through the Ukrainian Cultural Heritage Village east of Edmonton, damaging multiple buildings and forcing nearby residents to flee. That's next. Stay with us. An early season wildfire has struck a heritage site in Alberta, one devoted to the Ukrainians who immigrated there more than a century ago. Sam Sampson reports.
We're just outside of the Ukrainian Cultural Heritage Village, where fire crews are still putting out hotspots from Friday evening's fire. This place is essentially an open-air museum to show how early Ukrainian settlers lived in this area when they first got here. Take a look at just how close that fire got to some of these historic buildings that are in the museum. That black charred part of the prairie, that's just how close the fires got to these buildings that are so important to the Ukrainian community. Now, if you follow that black part of the field, you can see that it traveled through the museum and it actually jumped the highway that is right behind us, where 5 households were told to evacuate. Now, that evacuation alert was actually called down about a half hour later once fire crews got it under control.
It's a hazardous time of year for sure. Everything is dry. The winds have not been favorable for us, so we would just hope people are exercising caution.
The local fire department says all historic buildings, including restored settlers' houses, were saved. But the visitor center buildings were destroyed, many of which included artifacts. As crews work to put out hotspots in the village and determine just how the fire started, those who know and love this place say they're grateful most of it is okay.
It is definitely a relief to me, and as I drove up here, I was already calling friends that have buildings that have been restored in memory of their grandparents and great-grandparents. And it was a sigh of relief when I drove down the highway to see that a lot of those buildings have been saved.
Normally, the village starts its season during the May long weekend, but it's unclear if that will happen. The provincial government says it will open the site when it's safe. Supporting groups say they already have an online fundraiser to help rebuild the site.
This is a focal and a gathering point for our Ukrainian community and for people, travelers, visitors. So we're very, very preoccupied about the damage that has been done here.
As for the fire season in Alberta, it's already started. These strong winds and really dry conditions mean almost every county in this province has some sort of fire ban. Sam Sampson, CBC News, near Elk Island National Park in Alberta.
Here we have a time lapse of downtown Vancouver today, a day filled with sun and a mix of sun and clouds. Will those conditions continue for our long weekend? I'll have your full forecast next.
I'm Amy Bell, and this is your CBC Inbox.
CBC returns as the exclusive media partner of the Doxa Documentary Film Festival, May 1st to 11th. Doxa presents an exceptional selection of films and events that cultivate curiosity and critical thought. Festival tickets at doxafestival.ca. And on May 15th, join CBC's Dan Burrett at the Surrey Board of Trade's Top 25 Under 25 Awards, celebrating initiatives of Surrey's youth. Tickets at businessinsurrey.com.
All right, it is time now to take a look at our weather. Let's begin with a quick peek at the current temperatures around the province tonight. We've seen relatively dry conditions around the province, but we are going to start seeing a little bit more precipitation beginning overnight tonight. As we can see in Terrace with a 3 overnight and rainy in both Bella Coola and Terrace. Heading over to Kelowna, again, lots of rain, and 6 is your low for overnight, 0 in Whistler. And on the island, 7 and cloudy in Victoria and Tofino. Heading into tomorrow, it's going to dry up in Dees Lake with a high of 7 and a mix of sun and clouds. In Fort St. John, 9 is your high for tomorrow and a mix of scattered showers. Into Kelowna, we're going to see about a 14 for tomorrow and some rain. And heading into the island, Victoria and Tofino, similar conditions with a high of 13 and more rain. Heading into Metro Vancouver's 5-day forecast for our Sunday, 12 is our expected high with a chance of those scattered showers beginning tonight. That looks like it's going to dry up for our Easter Monday, and that will be a high of 12 with a mix of sun and clouds. That is your late news for this Saturday, April 19th. Thanks so much for watching. To keep up to date with all the latest news, visit our website at cbc.ca/bc. We'll see you tomorrow.